We'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to our regular session of the Black Mountain Board of Aldermen for October. This time I'd like to ask everyone, if they would, to please turn off their beepers and their cell phones. If you would, let's stand and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our invocation. Is Reverend Jim Hunter here? Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessings of this day. We pray, Lord, that you would guide us in your gentle mercy. For left to ourselves, we cannot do your will. Direct our minds and bodies throughout this evening. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you forever. Amen.
Amen.
We have one announcement to make this evening. I'd like to recognize, and I'm sure she's not here, but only an English Teacher of the Year, Dawn Rookie. She was recognized as the Buncombe County Teacher of the Year, an English teacher at Owen High School. So congratulations to Miss Rookie. This time we have two proclamations. One is National Red Ribbon Week, which is October 23rd through 31st, 2012. Whereas alcohol and drug abuse in this nation have reached epidemic stages. And whereas it is imperative that visible, unified prevention and education efforts by community members be launched to eliminate the demand for drugs. And whereas the National Red Ribbon Campaign offers citizens the opportunity to demonstrate their commitment to drug-free lifestyles, no use of illegal drugs, no illegal use of legal drugs. And whereas the National Red Ribbon Campaign will be celebrated in every community in America during Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd through 31st, 2012. And whereas business, government, parents, law enforcement, media, medical institutions, religious institutions, schools, senior citizens, service organizations, and youth would demonstrate their commitment to healthy, drug-free lifestyles by wearing and displaying red ribbons during this week-long campaign. And whereas the community of the town of Black Mountain further commits its resources to ensure the success of the Red Ribbon Campaign. Now therefore be it resolved, therefore I, Carl Bartlett, Mayor of the town of Black Mountain, do hereby proclaim October 23rd through the 31st, 2012 as National Red Ribbon Week, and encourage its citizens to participate in drug prevention educational activities, not only during Red Ribbon Week, but all year long, making a visible statement that we are strongly committed to a drug-free town. Signed this 8th day of October 2012. Anyone who'd like to have a red ribbon will have those available during that week here with our town clerk. This time we have an Advanced Law Enforcement Certificate Award. That's the Chief to come forward, and also Sergeant Kidd. Chief, I asked you if you'd make a few comments about this award.
Absolutely. Just to let you know that this is the Advanced Law Enforcement Certification Award is the highest award that you can receive for the state in training. It takes over 1,000 hours. We're really proud of the officers that have achieved this award. Out of our 6 supervisors, we have 5 that has already achieved the award. This will be the 5th. And again, this is one of the highest awards given by the state of North Carolina in training standards.
I believe you were told it's on a point system. You got to have about 60 points.
It's a point system. It ends up being well over 1,000 hours training.
Right. This is from the Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission. To all to whom these presents may come, greeting. Be it known that in recognition of the attainment of training and educational objectives commensurate with the role of a professional criminal justice officer and of personal devotion and service to the people of North Carolina, the Attorney General and the Chairman and members of the North Carolina Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission, through the authority vested in them by the laws of the state, do hereby award to Joseph Raymond Kidd this Advanced Law Enforcement Certificate, and with all the rights and privileges thereunto belonging. Congratulations.
speech? Oh, I'm good. Thank you.
A lot of hours, a lot of dedication.
No more homework?
No more homework.
We now have citizens' comments. First one is Ruth Brandon.
Ruth Brandon, 722 Laurel Avenue. I missed your meeting last month because I was still in California. But I read in the local paper that you voted to fund the fire truck purchase. Good thinking. Good vote. And later, in watching the meeting on TV, I had to agree with you, Carlos, that it was a necessity and long overdue. As you probably remember, public safety was always #1 with me while I was on the board. While my board terms go as far back as when both public safety departments were headquartered in what is now the Center for the Arts building. And when there was a fire, a fireman had to go out on State Street and stop the traffic, let the fire truck out to go to the fire. Then repeat that to let it back in. Tim will remember that. We've come a long way, and aren't we all pleased with that progress? I also read that you voted to eliminate the second citizens' comments period at board meetings. This action was taken at an agenda meeting, not at an open public meeting. In reading from the small article in the newspaper, it reads, Mayor Carl Bartlett said the second session has been used almost entirely as a platform for criticizing members of the board. Severe criticism of board members was not a problem with you, Carl, when Alderman Brown and I were on the board, with a lot of it coming, the criticism coming from the golf course. And I feel sure that you, Maggie, recall the rudeness of those remarks, and yes, even some threats, and took that under consideration when you voted for this, realizing the criticism was unjust and uncalled for. We now have a #1 golf course, thanks to Marcy's leadership. By the way, have the rules changed since I was on the board, where any item discussed at an agenda meeting and voted on was announced at the regular public board meeting to prevent even the appearance of secrecy on the board, so that all board action is made public? Again, Carl, it was okay with you when others had to endure the criticism, and never one time did our board even discuss eliminating public comments. The old saw, if you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen, comes into play here. I did not let the criticism deter me from making what I felt were good and sensible decisions. So I stayed in the kitchen. In fact, I stayed in the kitchen for 16 years, and I have the battle scars to prove it. This decision, in my opinion, needs to be reversed. And had I been sitting on board, I would have voted no to taking away the citizens' rights. The citizens are the reason for this board. This is a democracy, and any attempts to muzzle the public should not be tolerated. Again, I'd like to commend you for the positive action you took on the fire truck. And I hope public safety, both police and fire, will always be high on your priority list. And Tim, if you don't remember when those firemen had to come out, that truck had to come out of there with the traffic stop.
Thank you.
Remember those days.
Next is Elaine Lutzenheiser.
Elaine Lotzenheiser, 410 Avena Road. I too would like to comment on that because I didn't know that it would have been taken away until we got to the end of the meeting last time, and I'm looking at the minutes of the agenda meeting, and nobody is given credit for making that motion, but it said after discussion, the board voted 4-1 with Alderman Sobel voting against to remove the second citizen comment period from the regular monthly meetings. I too think it's a mistake. I didn't collude with her to discuss this. We didn't discuss that we were each going to address it. We just signed up to talk, but many times what goes on in the meeting requires comments at the end of the meeting, and if you don't know ahead of time what all is going to be discussed, you can't present your comments at the early citizens' comments. So I'd like to request that you put it back on the agenda as at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Phil Bessassi.
Phil Bessassi, 15 Highview Drive. Just amen, amen. I'd like to describe what I've learned in attending about 15 meetings of Grow Western North Carolina. We know that the town did decide to be part of the consortium, but apparently nobody's ever gone to see what it's all about. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of details, but here are the goals. Walkable communities, healthy communities, local food, local businesses. Let the owners of the businesses in town live in town. Let the policemen live in town. Let's have affordable housing. Every city employee should live in the city or town that they're serving. And affordable housing and affordable transportation. Basically, Grow Western North Carolina is about how we are going to evolve rather than the self-destructive development. And it's as simple as that, how to build community. I'd like us to get aboard. They mentioned to me that they're looking for a location for a community meeting. I told them I would ask the board if Carver Center would be a good place for Grow Western North Carolina to come out and present to all the cities, all the citizens of this town in November what they've been thinking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Hudson.
Richard Hudson, 103 Pleasant Drive Circle here in Black Mountain. Honorable Mayor and Board of Aldermen, I'm here tonight to voice my opposition to the appointment of a golf advisory board. Why do we need an advisory board when anybody that is familiar with the golf course knows that in no uncertain terms what the problems are? Basically, there are two. Number one, the golf course is not being maintained in a manner that enhances playability, which in turn does not create a golf experience for patrons to want to return to. Number two, the outside firm you hired to manage the course is not doing their job by allowing their employees to get by with maintaining the course in this manner. The golf course should be a source of pride for our community. The condition of this place reflects negatively on our town. Even though we hired the management out, the course shows no sense of pride of ownership to those who pay to play there. Just last Thursday, I had a longtime member, Roland Sloan, come to me and say, "Richard, it's the worst I've seen it in 40 years." Anyone who knows the history of the place knows that statement is monumental. Why? Because we've been through some very trying times in the past. I urge this board to nix the golf advisory idea. We do not need an extra layer of bureaucracy. Take it upon yourself to see what has happened in the year of Billy Casper. If you do, I see no other alternative than to terminate the contract. Let the legalities fall where they may and get a fresh start on returning this fine golf layout to its former glory. Anything less would be a shirking of your fiduciary duty to our town citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the communications from board commissions and agencies. The first one is the Aquatics Annual Report. Casey?
Good evening, Mayor, Board. This is the 2012 Aquatics Report. This is for the summer of 2012, so it spans 2 budget years. So these numbers we had to put together over 2 budgets. So that's why it took so long to get them to you in October rather than the September meeting. As you can see, the attendance for this year was down by almost a little over 4,000 people. Rentals were down. We had 2 less rentals this year than last year. We had 1 less day of total operations than last year, and we had 22 fewer lessons than we did from the previous year. I can go ahead with the financial slide, which I seem to be having technical difficulty with. The concessions brought in about $1,900 less this year than the previous year. The total expenses were $1,600 less than they were the previous year. Revenues were down $4,200. And so the total loss at the pool this year was $9,000 as opposed to $7,000 in the previous year. Have any questions?
Any questions, Casey? Thank you. Certification of appreciation from Buncombe County Parks, Greenways, and Recreation to the town. Julie White.
Buncombe County Parks, Greenways, and Recreation Services has been updating their master plan for their greenway system over the past year. And they had a celebration because they finished this process. They had a celebration a week ago Friday, and they presented the town of Black Mountain with a certificate of appreciation due to our participation and support of this process. And when Jack Williams gives the Greenway report, you'll see some of the ways that we were involved in this whole process. So I have the certificate, and it's signed by David Gant, and who's it go to? Carl? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all the work, y'all. Greenways Commission and report. Jack Williams.
I'm Jack Williams. I'm the new chairman of the Greenway Commission, taking over for Julie. And we have our slideshow.
Jack, they all have a copy of the presentation in front of them. So while Darlene works on it,
All righty. Basically, this year we've built out all the land that we have acquired. This year is basically promoting the Greenway, planning for the next section of Greenway that we can build. Okay. The main point here, the Greenway is now 2.5 miles long, and let's see what happens here. Yeah, okay, next one. Well, we were in the Christmas parade the first year. This Carolina Thread Trail is something we attend. This will be the second year we've done it. It's in just outside of Charlotte. It's about maintaining and just developing greenways. It's a professional kind of seminar. Next. Well, there we are at the parade. One of the main things we did. Next. The Valentine run in February. And that's it. Well, we had a display at the finish line too for the Mount Mitchell Challenge. Next. The big event we have is the Greenway Challenge. Raised $5,000 for the Greenway, and we set up our display. We have a display we carry around. Set up a display for information, and next year it will be on March 23rd, and it'll be run by Peter Ripmaster of Black Mountain Running. He's going to be the race director, and he can have all the headaches. Earth Day, we participated in that. We take our display most everywhere where we can. The Montreat College students made a whole bunch of birdhouses, and we are in the process of setting those things up. Next. Biker Walk to School Days and the Bike Rodeo is something we do every year for the elementary and primary school kids. Next. Strive Not to Drive. I suppose that was a success. It's about it. It's encouraging people to walk or ride instead of taking their car. Next. Yeah, we're at several things around town. The Black Mountain Garden Show, National Trails Days. We led a walk along the Flat Creek Greenway, and we had a fair turnout for that to kind of point up a problem we're having with where the Greenway ends at Cotton Avenue, getting up to Montreat on Flat Creek Road. Greenspan Wellness Center sponsored a raffle at the Sourwood Festival this year, and we raised $257 for the Greenway. Next. Cycle to Farm was a large, first annual thing that we've done here. 62-mile loop for bicyclists going out through the country, stopping at farms, local farms. We raised $1,800 for the Greenway. We brought a lot of visitors to town. $46,385 was the impact of that. That came from lodging and food sales, things like that. We hope to have that next year. Jan and David Billstrom were the ones who were running that, and they did a fine job on it. The Track Trails is a program run by an organization that gets children out into the outdoors to learn about nature things. The track trail is now going around the rec park under I-40 and into the community garden loop. It's basically for children. They run the thing, and we help them whatever they need. That's open on October 23rd, is be the grand opening. We'll be at the tailgate market for the last tailgate market. We'll have our display up there. We've passed out information. And the primary school annual family fitness night will also be there. And that's it. I was at the Buncombe County Greenway Commission meeting, and was happy to see that they did approve the master plan for Buncombe County, Connect Buncombe. Many, many years from now, when you're able to walk or ride across Buncombe County, this is the start of it. This is when the master plan has been approved. One of the things personally I liked about it was that they're not going to use eminent domain as a tool for getting any kind of land. Businesses in Black Mountain really supported this idea, and we thank the board for their support of this program. There's also the thing that Buzz is holding up there is the Greenway Please sign. People would just write out what they'd like to use the Greenway as, or to do on the Greenway. And Dynamite Coffee developed a special coffee blend for the Greenway. It was pretty good. And next. We have a number of people coming out to help us maintain the greenway and control invasives, things like this. Owen High, Black Mountain Elementary, Warren Wilson College, Montreat College, Ridgecrest, University of North Carolina, and we work with Asheville Greenworks to organize these volunteer organizations, and we appreciate their help. We work with the Recreation and Parks, the Planning Commission, Beautification Committee has done a whole lot of stuff around town, especially for us. The town square, that's one of the things we're going to do next year, is try and figure out how to get from the Flat Creek Greenway to Town Square to In the Oaks Trail. That's and all of this is part of the health initiative, the Safe Routes to School. Basically, that's it. And yes, the goals for next year, since we are built out, we're not building anything next year that I know of. Maintain, improve the greenway, look at improving and expanding the greenway coverage. We're going to update our display so that it can be used at different venues, don't have to set up the whole display at once. Continue fundraising, develop a geocaching program, and collaborate with Connect Buncombe. Basically, what we would like to look at next year is connecting Lake Tomahawk with the Parks and Rec Trail down there on Montreat South, and then looking at a way to get around from Cotton Avenue to Montreat Road without going up Flat Creek. And any way we can work that out will be fine. The logo up there is something new. That's our new logo. That'll be on the signs. We're going to be putting up the signs that we have in the middle of October, but when their money becomes available or whatever, we're going to change the logo to that circle up there. And that is basically it.
Are you tired?
Yeah, I'm tired.
That's a lot of work.
Well, we have a good group. Julie had a great term running this thing, and we're getting cooperation from everybody. So I'm happy.
Great. Just a couple of points. You were talking about expanding the greenways. I was speaking with Jess Gardner, and this is about this deals with a couple of things. Number one, about money, which obviously Julie's always trying to, has been trying to find money. It's difficult to come about. But one of the bottlenecks that we've got on this trail, according to the original Greenway Master Plan, is down behind Bilo's where the trestle is, that goes where Swananoa River goes under the Norfolk Southern trestle. And that right there, over these past few years, we've been able to go ahead. The town employed McGill and they went ahead and did the study and was able to go ahead and, along with some extra work that we got through Jerry Vihon at the emergency system, he had some extra money. We were able to clean that stream of some old pipe from the sewer line. By doing so, what that did was that lowered the stream, because in order to get a bridge underneath there, we had to have a no-rise certificate. So we have that no-rise certificate now. And I'm hoping that maybe all will be moving. But by the way, when is your next meeting? Because I'd like to.
It's the third Tuesday in October.
That's the third Tuesday in October. Okay. But just because I wanted the public to hear this too, that if we could really concentrate on that one area, trying to get underneath the trestle, because we're going to have to get the right of way from Norfolk Southern, which is a real pain, because I mean DOT is an 800-pound gorilla and Norfolk Southern's an 8,000-pound gorilla when you're trying to deal with the right of ways.
Right.
But then if we could get that done and then connect that, Then we could start moving up towards like Ole Guacamole's, go underneath US 70,
Yeah.
utilizing one of those concrete barrels that's underneath there. You know, that would be, because one of those property owners in there, the church, the Quakers, I went to see them, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and they were at the time said, yeah, fine. We'd love to have you come around us. So there's only 2 or 3 property owners in there to connect from Bilo all the way to the Flat Creek Trail. So I would hope that that would be something that, and I was talking to the board about it in our agenda meeting, and they were saying, yeah, fine for me to go speak with you folks and see if we can move that forward on it.
Yeah, the thing I know about that is that we were trying to talk to Bilo. Somebody had Bilo, we were having trouble talking to somebody at Bilo about some property back there. Does that affect this?
We've already got the property back there. I mean, we've already got that trail system. You got the dog park, and then you got the trail that we put in that goes around almost to Highway number 9.
Right. Mm-hmm. We were trying to talk to Bilo about making that a complete loop back around to the dog park and back out again. We were having a little trouble.
Yeah, because the master plan is trying to get it from Mondry Gate all the way down to the rec park.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's our goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'll be there at the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for the leadership, for Julie and Ann also. Thank you. Have the consent agenda. You've had an opportunity to see the minutes. First item on the consent. Matt, do you want to go ahead and do the rest?
Go down the list, then you've got the minutes, you've got a budget amendment to receive $7,500 from Family Care that's donated annually for the firework display. You have a resolution to endorse the Buncombe County Greenway and Trails Master Plan. We have a budget amendment to appropriate $90,000 from fund balance to make a down payment for the fire truck and to finance $150,000, and this budget amendment will adjust the budget to reflect that. Then you've got a resolution to approve the fire truck financing with BB&T, which is to finance the $150,000 for 36 months at an interest rate of 1.79%. It's an annual payment of roughly $51,800. Then next you have a proposal to adopt the 2012 Municipal Records Retention and Disposition Schedule. You do that periodically just to keep on file which records had to be kept and for how long. Then we have a proposal to declare the existing 1990 pumper truck as surplus and dispose of it by auction on GovDeals. And finally, a proposal to adopt some changes in the priorities of the Recreation and Parks Master Plan.
Is there a motion to approve consent items A through H as presented?
Motion. Can I ask Matt?
Yes, sir.
Just some specifics on G there, the proposal to declare or to approve declaration of property as surplus for the fire pumper truck. I've had someone ask me this question, so that's what I'm asking you to give the procedures as far as how that's listed and then the time frame that it is so that there can be different bids. I know at one time I bid on a truck, a fire truck.
Right.
On gov.com. And I didn't get it, but that's probably good because I was able to stay at my house. But the thing is that there's a certain amount of time. So give me the particulars on how that works. I can tell this.
Right. So then the fire department will post it, or well, I think actually finance may. We'll post the particulars about the piece of equipment on GovDeals, which we have an account with. We'll set a time frame for when bids are accepted, minimum bids, maximum bids. All those parameters can be set, and staff will set that, and the time range can vary depending on what the piece of equipment is and what we anticipate getting back for that. But it's basically the online auction. So you post all the information online through GovDeals. Anybody can go on then and do a search for types of equipment that they want, fire trucks. They will see this on there and they will place their bids, and we'll set the time limit. I don't know right now what the timeline for that is. but then
But
anyone,
there will be a
but
set time.
there'll be a set time, there'll be a deadline by which you have to place your bid, and then we will notify the lowest bid, or the highest bid in this case, the highest bid for this piece of
All right,
property.
so there is a deadline, so there is a set period of time, so that
Yes, you're not
someone just
required to
comes
put,
in.
you're not required, not everything on GovDeals is required to have a deadline, but that is an option on GovDeals, and we would put a deadline.
Yeah, I think it's necessary to have a deadline
Yeah.
for something like that, so that everybody has an opportunity, if they want to bid on it.
Yes.
Any other comment? I have a motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The new business, Alderman Tuttle has requested form of board appointed by golf course as an ad hoc committee. Ms. Tuttle?
Yes, actually, this probably started a year ago when Billy Casper first came, and there was a small group of representatives from the course met with the management company, two representatives, Nick and Brian, who represent the district and regional managers. I thought it was and we all agreed it was a productive meeting, and we said at that time we'd like to continue with this same format. Well, we've had a year under our belt now, and we feel very definite about forming this committee. It will be composed of a cross-section of members, those who play regularly day by day, who play a lot of golf. And they're concerned not only about the quantity that comes through the golf course, but the quality of the service. I would say the main purpose of this committee will be to serve as a vehicle for open communication between members and management, focusing on course conditions and financial issues. After all, Black Mountain Golf Course is a vital resource for our town. We own it, it's ours. I certainly think we should have a voice, the members should have a voice to this company. And the members have expressed that, several of the members have expressed that to me. So we would like to open an avenue for quality representation. And I would recommend the following people. Al Richardson has agreed to be the chairman for this committee. The other members would be Carolyn Lambert, Tom Blizzard, Byron Bailey, Bill Punchin, O.L. Sherrill, John DeWitt, and myself. I've also talked with Brent and John about being in attendance to these meetings, and they're all in. They say that's fine. In fact, the meetings will be open to anyone. They're open meetings. And we will post the time of the meetings on in the newspaper with the town postings. Hopefully, we can have a meeting this month and be ready, because Billy Casper will be here the first week in November. They'll be here for our board meeting, I believe that's right. And I would like for us to have a chance to sit down and put our thoughts together and issues that and bring them to the forefront and talk with these people and see where we are. So that's where I feel this committee's coming from. I know it's where I'm coming from, and I feel like I'm a good representative for the members of this court. So that's where I am at this point.
Okay. The motion is to appoint a person to chair and form an ad hoc committee with the purpose of developing recommendations regarding golf course improvements and serving as a liaison between the golf course members and Billy Casper management. Are you making that as a motion, Ms. Tuttle?
Yes, I am.
Okay. In discussion.
Yeah, I'd like to make a couple comments on it. I think that as long as we are in the situation that we're in with Billy Casper, maybe a little bit of dialogue might go ahead and help the course out. And the fact of pointing out certain things that, as Hudson so aptly put, is not being done. Because I would like to make sure that the course is kept up as we anticipate, as I anticipate, and I hope that this board will too shortly, and I'm not sure when that time would come, but when we can divorce ourselves from Billy Casper Golf. Because in the interim, I want to make sure the course is kept up as best as possible.
Right.
So my reasoning for supporting the committee is in that light. And not for this committee to be around for a year or 2 or 3, because I'm hoping that somewhere in that time we will have a split.
Any other comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask if you'd like the motion to specifically appoint Al Richardson to chair and form the committee instead of saying a person.
Yes.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yes. Number one, I don't see this as another layer of bureaucracy. I think this is just something that's been needed, and I think it's member communication with the golf management, and I don't see how it can do anything but help the members of our golf course. More communication is a good thing. It's good for Billy Casper, and ultimately good for our members and the town. And I support it for that reason. I think it's a good thing, and it's a win-win situation for everybody. The more light you can shed on any problem, the better off everything's going to be.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Carlos?
Yes, Alder Lady, and I say Alder Lady Tuttle. Alder Lady Tuttle and I have spoken about this several times in the past over the year. And I think it is a great situation. It's a great idea, and it's something that we really do need. Since this agreement's come about, this management agreement's come about, there's been a lot of yelling and screaming, fussing and cussing, one way for, one way against. But I think it's very important that now we can have someone that can create some really good dialogue between the golfers and between the management firm and between the town, just to get everybody on the right position. My question was, when we discussed this in the agenda meeting, was whether or not this ad hoc committee would have any authority to make changes, to do changes, whatever, with Billy Casper management. And the answer to that is no. Like I said, it's about clean discussion, what's going on. I mean, it's a prime example of tonight of Mr. Hudson coming up tonight and saying, well, the course is in bad shape, or someone's told him the course is in the worst shape it's been in 40 years. I've had people come to me and say, the place looks great, with the exception of the greens, and I think that's because of the extreme heat we've had again this year. So hopefully, with this committee in place, we can put aside a lot of the little disagreements, a lot of the little backbiting, a lot of little comments that have been made, because this is the Town of Black Mountains facility. It's there for all citizens, golfers and non-golfers. So hopefully, I commend Alder Lady Tuttle again for spearheading this. I think it's going to be a great thing. Make sure I know when the meeting's going to be. I like to be part of them too. Thanks.
Any other comment?
Yeah, I do want to make a point that from what Richard was saying there about that, and I had a gentleman that a doctor who back in August was telling me that he'd been playing here for over 30 years, and that's exactly the same thing he said. The worst condition that he's ever seen it in 30 years. Alderman Childs talked about the greens. Well, unfortunately, the greens are the most important part of the course. And there's a reason why those greens, you've got to, when you get those temperatures up there around 100 degrees, you've got to go ahead and put the water on them to cool them down in the heat of the day. And that wasn't done. The grass then got stressed. Then we had another different type of the drought. Then we ended up with some different weather. And you got lots of dead spots on those greens. So not the proper maintenance was done to those greens or to the tee boxes. So I'm hoping that that's one of the things then that this committee could do to put the pressure on John and the Billy Casper folks to say, look, let's get this course looking in good shape. Sure, your fairways may look good. They're a lot of them crabgrass anyway. As long as they're mowed and you've got those nice stripes in them, they look great.
But the key to your golf course is to, like, the creek banks that haven't been maintained properly, the tee boxes, and again, the most important part, the greens. When you build a green, if you have to rebuild a whole green, you're looking at $50,000, $60,000. So it's worth it to spend the extra money to maintain them properly.
Any comments? Call for a vote. You're out of order. Call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Town attorney's not here tonight. Town manager, you have communication?
A couple of brief things, and I'll just reiterate what Alderwoman Tuttle said. The folks from Billy Casper Golf will be here to do their end-of-year presentation at our November meeting. The croquet court improvements that you all had voted on at last month's meeting are taking place now. They're doing some work with some drainage and some grading. If the weather holds out, I think that will come along nicely, and hopefully we'll see a croquet court there that we can be proud of in a few months. And I just want to point out, if you've been downtown, the monument is now working. They've redone a lot of the striping. We're having some sidewalk work done. And the beautification committee has done an excellent job of putting up some seasonal displays around town. And I really think that I just wanted to commend the public services crews that did that work, the beautification committee, the volunteers that were involved in that effort. And there's been a lot going on. There's a giant spider at Town Square. So, I just wanted to recognize a lot of the work that's going on for the downtown area, and that I think that it looks great. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Board of Aldermen, y'all have any comments? I recognize Alderman Showers.
I have two things, Mr. Mayor. One thing is to elaborate on what two of our citizens already talked about, the citizen comments. And this evening I sent an email out to members of this board and asking them if we could get together and reconsider the second citizen comment. Like saying the vote that was taken last month, I voted to do away with the second citizen comment, and there was a reason for that. But I am open and willing to listen to what citizens have to say, and for this board to, again, if we want to go back and revisit it, I would encourage us to do so. The second thing is, a couple of weeks ago, Highland Farms and some civic organizations here in town lost a very valuable member, Jim Lanehart. He passed away. A lot of you might know Jim from the candidate forums we used to have, or we did have each election year at Highland Farms. And Jim served as moderator for a lot of those candidate forums. And I hope that this committee, this board, will join me in extending our sympathy not only to Jim's family, but to the members out at Highland Farms and to other citizens, organizations, and towns that Jim was part of. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, send our condolences to them. He certainly was a valuable asset to our community. Anyone else? The Certified Entrepreneurial Committee had a breakfast at Highland Farms, which was sponsored by Highland Farms for the committee. They had a 3-person panel, had about 40 in attendance. The program was financing for entrepreneurs. And next month, hopefully we'll be able to recognize the Entrepreneur of the Year. Nothing else?
Yes, I would like to say one last thing. Back in 1994, we started, Michael Blaine and I had gotten together on a porch and kind of drew out of a greenway. And so we followed through with that, and then the town board set up a greenway committee. And that original committee, long after I was on it, still retained members that were on that one, Julie White and Ann. And so I think that I just want to personally thank both you ladies for the many, many hours over these years that you have given to that greenway, and wouldn't be where it is without your due diligence. So thank you.
I think the whole board says amen to that. If there's no objection to it, then I'll declare us adjourned.